DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. Topic of this video, I'm gonna do a podcast on this as well, is rationalizing that we do and what rationalizing actually is. It's rational lies that we tell ourselves. The main thing that separates humans from animals, even though we are animal on some level, but we are different, is that human beings, we have the ability to think that animals simply don't have. Animals do everything, they react off instinct. Humans, we have instincts. So when you hear a human say something like animalistic, when we talk about something animalistic, what we're talking about is just going off of instinct. But what separates us from animals like dogs and bears and lions is the fact that we have the ability to also pause, not just go off of instinct, and actually think before we take actions. We can think about things that have happened in the past and their ramifications for what might happen in the future. We can try to predict the future and go off of, again, looking at past performance and think about what does that mean for future performance. And because of this ability to think, we can dominate animals, even though animals are, for the most part, bigger, stronger, faster than human beings. Like, if it was all about physicality, then animals would dominate the world, because lions and bears and sharks and tigers and et cetera, they're a lot bigger, stronger, and faster than humans. But because of our ability to think, we can dominate them instead of them dominating us. As we can predict what they're going to do, and that's how we can capture them, put them in the zoo, and et cetera, et cetera. Human beings also have this ability to make up stories in our minds about whatever is happening in front of us. Animals also don't have the ability to do this. This is why an animal, for example, any of you has a dog, you have your dog in the house and you go outside and leave the dog in the house and you go to work in the morning and you come back 8 hours later, or it doesn't even have to be 8 hours. You go outside to get the mail and you come back in the house 2 minutes later from getting the mail, and your dog goes crazy and celebrates your return as if they didn't even know that you were going to come back. You couldn't tell the dog, hey, I'll be right back in 2 minutes. So you could say that to the dog, but they wouldn't understand it, right? And they get all excited because you came right back, because they don't have the ability to think and rationalize and tell themselves stories the way that we do. We have this ability to make stories up in our minds about anything that's happening, and that story can be something that serves us, and it can be something that does not serve us. And what I'm talking about here today is the unhealthy version, the unhealthy version of storytelling that does not serve us, also known as rationalization. And I'm talking about the negative version of rationalization. So you can rationalize something and it can help you, but I'm talking about the negative version. And that's why I called it rational lies. The rationalization is simply you making up a believable enough story, an acceptable enough story in your mind about a current circumstance that allows you to feel okay about that circumstance, even though if you had some truth serum, if you actually had to tell the truth to yourself about what's going on, that situation is not okay, but you come up with a good enough sounding story that makes it sound okay. This is like the person who's out of shape, and you ask them, hey, you think you're going to do something about your physical fitness? And they say, well, hey, this person's weighs the same amount as me and there's nothing wrong with them. Or they'll say, well, it doesn't all have to go off of weight. We got to go off of bone density. I'm big boned, or I have a low BMI. It's not all about that. Or why do I got to adhere to some kind of standard that somebody else made up? Those are rationalizations for the fact that they know they're in a fucked up situation, but they just don't want to do anything about it. I remember I was working with a basketball player years ago, and he was a good outside shooter. That was the main thing for his game, shooting on the outside. He couldn't really dribble. He couldn't really get to the basket. He didn't really have any physicality to his game. He was just a good outside shooter. That was his thing. And one day we're working out, and he was like, yeah, I want to work on my outside shot. So we're working on it, and I'm like, well, what about the rest of your game? And he was like, it's okay, it's fine. He kind of got annoyed with me because I asked him about anything other than the main thing that he wanted to be good at. This is what we all do. I'm using these as examples, but we all do this. We craft stories in our minds to make ourselves feel okay about stuff that we know we need to fix, because it gives us time and allows us to delay. And for many people, the delay lasts your entire lifetime, to never do anything about something that needs to be fixed. The solution to rationalization is you got to catch yourself telling yourself the bullshit, because the thing is, they call it in Ebonics, they call it rocking yourself to sleep. Is when you tell yourself a rationalization often enough, you start to believe it. You start to take it as truth, even though it's bullshit. But you tell yourself anything often, you'll accept it. Your subconscious mind will accept it by the power of repetition. So you got to catch yourself in your own bullshit. You got to call yourself on your own bullshit. That's one option. This is very difficult to do. Most people can't do that. So the other thing you need to do is get around some people who will tell you the truth to your face. Some people who are licensed. I don't mean licensed like they got a degree. I mean, they have a license from you to tell you the truth when you need to hear it. Do you have any of those people in your life? I did an episode of my podcast. I called it Not Friends. You need to value people in your life who are not your friend and don't need to be your friend. And because they don't need to be your friend, but they still have access to you, they can tell you the truth. And if you don't like it, it doesn't matter because they don't need you to like them. You need people like this in your life. In the professional world, we call these people coaches, trainers, accountability partners, mastermind members. They may become your friend over time because of the relationship, but they don't need to be your friend. And when someone doesn't need to be your friend, they can do things that people who are your friend can't do. Because see, your friends are your friends because you tell them things and they tell you things that make you feel good about yourself. And if you told all your friends the truth all the time of what you really thought, they wouldn't be your friend. Because they would hear some harsh things that would be very uncomfortable for them. And most people don't like hearing those kind of things. They would rather rationalize. So you need people around you who don't need to be your friend, but also have access to you that you will listen to so they can tell you when you're telling yourself some bullshit so you can listen and actually apply whatever it is that they're telling you and do something different in your life. But if you don't have these people around you and there's a 99% chance that you're not the type of person who would do it to yourself. And listen, I'm in the coaching world. I'm in the coaching business. Okay, I do courses, books, speaking, live events, coaching, masterminds. So I know 99.9% of people are not capable of being your own coach and telling yourself when you're in the midst of some bullshit. Because the people who can tell themselves that, those are the people who go and hire coaches. Those are the people who go and get professional development and do these things to invest in themselves. And most people don't do this. Only 2% of the population even invest in themselves when it comes to personal and professional development, believe it or not. So the other 98%, you need another person to smack you in the face, metaphorically, with some reality from time to time. So if you don't have that in your life, I guarantee you are rationalizing some bullshit in your life right now, probably several pieces of bullshit in your life right now. And if you want your life to improve and change in a positive way, you got to first of all identify where's the bullshit and what about it needs to be fixed. And you need someone who can look you in your face and tell you that. And you need to be mentally tough enough and disciplined enough and confident enough to accept it when it gets told to you. This is the other part of it. Because again, your rationalization will creep in. As soon as somebody tells you some uncomfortable truth, the first thing that's going to happen is your rationalizing mind is going to look for ways to invalidate what you've just been told. So somebody tells you you are fat and out of shape and you need to get in shape. The first thing your subconscious mind is going to do, because this is what it's been conditioned to do, is to invalidate what you just heard and say, well, I'm not in that bad of a shape. I'm in okay shape. You know, I went out last weekend and some guys or some girls were looking at me, so I must be okay. I mean, they were looking at me, so what's wrong with me? Why I got to be something wrong with me? Why you got to judge me? That's what your subconscious mind is going to start doing. It's going to start invalidating the very truth that just got thrown in your face. You need to be mentally tough enough to not allow your subconscious mind to do what it is programmed to do, which is protect you with the bullshit. You need somebody who can point out the bullshit and for you to say, you know what, that is some bullshit. Let me do something about that. Again, this is a skill. It's an ability. It's something that you can get access to, but you have to catch yourself in the rationalization first before any of this can happen. The luckiest people alive, you have parents who did this for you. Most of us do not have parents who can do this for us, because most of our parents, they never invested in any professional development or personal development, so they're unqualified to tell you what you need to hear because they don't know it either. All right, now the next level is if you have a sibling who can do this. That's possible. You don't have a sibling who can do it, then maybe you had a coach. You played a sport. The thing is, sports end. Ideally, you have a friend, people in your life who can tell you the truth and they don't give a damn how you feel about it. Most of you don't have those kind of friends because it ain't that many types of people out there in the world. Ain't that many of them walking around. So, and those people ain't friends with everybody. So this is an emergency situation for many of you that you need to do something about this, because this is slowing down your success in life. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation. My number is 305-384-6894. Get your ticket to my event. Work on Your Game Live is happening February 3rd and 4th in Miami. The link is workonyourgame.live. And the next level to work with me, because I'm an expert at what I do, I will call you on your bullshit. I will tell you to your face and don't need to be your friend in the process. That is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all